The sea has always been a source of inspiration for legends and unbelievable stories. However, although its depths hold an infinite number of unknown treasures, it is on its shores that our stories take place. That's right. In this article, we're going to look at the 12 strangest things found on the beach. Between the fabulous creatures and the mysterious objects, let's make this exciting journey to the edge of reality. And if you like this video, don't forget to give a like, subscribe to the channel, and activate the bell to receive all notifications. Our journey begins in Florida, on a beach in Miami. It is in October 2012 that a beach attendant found a singular object buried in the shells during his usual walk. A huge blue eye the size of a handball. The organ, still throbbing, seemed to be barely torn out of a marine animal. From then on, the beach attendant immediately rushed home, and hastily placed the loot in his refrigerator. This maneuver preserved the eye in the best conditions while awaiting the arrival of wildlife specialists. These images have sparked a wave of fanciful hypotheses on the canvas. The Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission gave the first answers, based on the analysis of characteristics such as volume, color, and the remains of bone structures surrounding the organ. It was a Forteorian eye of a large swordfish weighing at least 500 kilograms. These hypotheses were finally confirmed by genetic analysis a few days later. Still in Florida, but this time off the port of Salerno, a fishing crew was able to pull up a gigantic creature, a giant squid 8 meters long and weighing 90 kilograms. The animal, although it had lost a tentacle, was still alive. So, the fishermen quickly brought it back to the local port authorities. Even though it perished on the way, it was recovered by scientists in a satisfactory state of conservation. They finally resigned themselves to keeping the specimen in formalin for genetic studies. It should be noted that this species has very rarely been observed alive, due to its pronounced taste for the icy depths, where the pressure conditions are unbearable for humans. We stay in America, but this time it is in California that a diver made an unexpected encounter. She found herself in front of a giant snake carcass of more than 5 meters long. The animal, usually discreet and rarely spotted even by specialists, was lying motionless at a depth of 9 meters. Fortunately, the diver had the immediate reflex to think that no one would believe her and proceeded to take the carcass out to the edge. Scientists immediately put it on ice to extract as much information as possible. However, although this fish, also called regalic, is the longest bony species in the world, we know very little about it, so much so that the services concerned judged that the carcass would be worthy of being placed in a marine museum. On a beach on the island of Seram in Indonesia, a 37-year-old fisherman was shocked to find himself in front of a huge body of more than 15 meters, slimy and smelly, thinking first of a boat wreck. But specialists later proved that it was the huge corpse of a decomposing baleen whale. It was indeed the Ocean Conservancy, which advanced this deduction, based on the fact that the island is located near a migration path of these gigantic animals. Several theories began to follow one another, among which it would be possible that the giant was hit by a ship. This would have caused wounds whose infection led to the formation of gases, which caused the swelling of the corpse. It is in this logic that the floating of the carcass, which usually sinks to the depths, was justified. Let's move on something never seen before. It is in Montauk, a beach in New York City, that walkers have found a stunning animal carcass. The species was so unrecognizable that the creature was simply named Montauk monster. Indeed, the animal looked like nothing known, a little larger than a cat, with a high beak-like jaw and another well furnished with sharp fangs, devoid of fur except for a few scattered tufts and, above all, a tail resembling that of a rat. Yes, a real godsend for fans of X-Files stories. On social networks, some people thought it was the result of a genetic experiment, others even went so far as to evoke the hypothesis of an alien. But, according to the majority of specialists, it would be a decaying raccoon, given the shape of the beak and the fingers at the end of the legs. But the mystery has never been solved until today, especially since the place was located near a government research center. Still, in the context of the unfinished business, it was in Mexico this time, off the Pacific Ocean, that an unidentified animal was found. From a distance, the walkers immediately thought it was a dolphin and rushed to its rescue. But once close by, it was total amazement. Without eyes, with a long body, a tail resembling that of a snake and teeth worthy of horror movies, the species was totally unknown. Neither moray eels, dolphins nor snakes. That's how the internet users described it on the social networks where its image was all the rage. Even local fishermen, questioned by the media, could not identify it. They just assumed that it could be a species that lives in the depths of the Pacific because of the absence of eyes. Our journey now leads us to the island of Oahu in the Hawaiian archipelago. On a beautiful summer morning, a huge marshmallow runs aground on the coast and creates general amazement. At least this is what it looked like at first sight, but the stench and the length of more than 15 meters immediately prompted the authorities to intervene. Once on the spot, they were able to understand that it was a huge sperm whale, dead and decomposing. Scientists, therefore, took the opportunity to draw useful information to explain the phenomenon. So, they concluded after verification that the creature's digestive tract contained no traces of plastic, but that it was paradoxically almost empty of any food. In the end, they concluded that this giant of the seas was either seriously ill or had been the victim of a collision with a ship. Let's momentarily leave the world of aquatic monsters, to look at objects stranded on the beach, although non-living, but no less surprising. Just like this unidentified mass resembling a piece of a space capsule, which was found in California. Indeed, the cylindrical-shaped, blackish thing had everything to suggest such an explanation. But the fact that the structure was not metallic quickly raised doubts. This is how the Lowcountry Marine Mammal Network, an NGO for the protection of marine wildlife, launched the debate on social networks. This was enough to make the hypotheses spread all over the web. While some supported the idea that the object would come from space, others thought that it would only be the remains of a septic tank, a kind of buoy used in ports to avoid collisions with boats. The mysterious object was eventually taken away by the authorities in an attempt to identify it. Let us now mention an unusual natural event that occurred in Siberia. In 2013, a long beach at the tip of the peninsula was flooded with ice balls of all sizes. So much so that some even reached the dimensions of a soccer ball. The immense quantity of these really created an unusual astonishment among the inhabitants. They even pointed out that the local memory has never recorded such a phenomenon. But, as always, science had its say. Thus, Sergei Lysenkov of the Arctic and Antarctic Research Institute stated that, a combination of wind action, the shape of the coastline and temperature can lead to the formation of such balls. Thus, it would be a perfectly explainable result, due to the accumulation of saltwater on the sand layers, followed by the mechanical action of the wind. Let's go back to our unbelievable stories of sea animals, and this time it's in Vietnam. In 2013, a gigantic creature was found, strangely enough, a few dozen meters from the coast. The animal was 10 meters long and weighed hundreds of kilos, in any case much more than a whale, and gathered a huge crowd of villagers as frightened as they were astonished. A video showing the carcass being pulled by a heavy vehicle quickly spread over the internet. While the villagers were watching this unprecedented spectacle, some of them even ventured to participate in the removal operation. But the most surprising thing in the story is that the scientists were unable to classify the animal under any known breed until now. It simply deserved the name of country monster. To the Philippines, where the year 2017 has recorded another enigma of nature. It is on a beach on Dinagat Island, where the sea monster was found. A whitish carcass of about 4 meters long, hairy and slightly bloody, lay on the sandy ground. These images invaded social networks to trigger the classic debate on the identity of the species. This, after being examined by members of the Municipal Institute of Agriculture in Cagdianao, was eventually recognized as an advanced decaying manatee. Specimens of this animal, also called sea cow, had been observed near the coast a few days before, which supports the hypothesis. As for the tufts of hair, the scientists explained that it would be the remnants of decomposed muscle fibers. And to end this surprising journey through the stories of the finds on the beaches, let's land in Indonesia for a palatial event. In November 2018, a whale was found dead with more than 1,000 plastic objects in its digestive tract. The unfortunate animal, stranded in Wakatobi National Park, had 6 kilograms of plastic waste in its belly, including 115 cups, 25 bags, 4 bottles, and 2 flip-flops. Although the conservation director of the World Wildlife Fund in Indonesia stated that investigators were not able to find out what caused his death, the images of the whale triggered a new debate about the impact of plastic waste on nature. Especially since Indonesia is considered the second largest producer of plastic waste in the world. In the end, the marine universe will never cease to impress us and feed the imagination of those who love unusual stories. These were the 12 strangest things dragged along the beaches, so tell us about the most mysterious find to your liking in the comments.